Hello everyone, I'm Bart and you might know me as the judge of show design and visual performance at the last national championships. So this year we have a little bit different situations here. And first of all, I hope that you are all safe, that your families are safe, and that we can recover fast from this pandemic. So um, today I will inspire you a little bit on show design. So there's actually many aspects about show design. It's a little bit out of scope of this short presentation here. But just to give you an idea how we look as a judge to your product. In fact, it's not very complicated. We are one of the audience, so it means that we are looking, searching for exactly the same emotions, the impact. We are also looking whether some things are done correctly, if it's done with good quality. So in fact, it brings us to two chapters for evaluation of your show. We're looking at the design effect, so we're looking at what are you doing? Is it really something that appeals? Is it something that communicates with us? Is it something that has a continuity? Is there a story in it? So these are the kind of things that we are looking at. So the what factor. Second thing is the how factor. So we're looking at your performance. Are you doing this with a good quality, with a lot of expression, a lot of communication? And of course, the more you do this, the better you have an impact and also an exposure to the public. So, in fact, we want to be impressed. We want to, you create emotions and we want to capture those emotions. So, in fact, this is the first factor that is quite important, is the impact factor. But that's something that I will talk about later. So today I will talk a little bit more about staging, and staging is such a huge parameter in making your show great or not great. So what is staging? It's you have to look at your field as a stage and a theater. And what you see, you have different positions. You have front position, you have a back position, you have the left one, you have the right one. And of course, the way you position your individual players or dancers, if you have, this will give a different intensity to what they bring. So the positioning is very important. Just to give you a very simple idea, a solo player could be in the front, but he could also be, for example, at a special dedicated focus point, and the focus point is very important. You do not necessarily have to create an or put people in the front, but you can make a focus point, and this is what the people are looking at. They're looking at focus points. They don't have enough eyes to see everything, so you have to make sure that if you create a focus point, that everything around is not distracting from that focus point and is either emphasizing that focus point, or that is you're doing something that is maybe completely way off, that should not be seen. So what is also very important is the use of space. You have a complete field, so use it. You can position people that are not so important at this point or at this moment in the back or at somewhere at the side, and then you can bring it in a very fast transition into an impact. So you can create from a small group a big group in no time. And this is something that's third point in the staging or the technical staging, is you have to adhere to the emotion. This is something to which we see a lot of mistakes. And I give you a very simple example. If you, for example, have a very melodic part of your music, then you have to avoid that you're making, for example, a vertical line. A vertical line is something that you want to use as a visual effect, but if you have players one behind the other, the impact or the communication of the music to the audience is very faint. So you have to make sure that if you have a very melodic and a very nice part, that you create horizontal lines and curves. So curves are something that are more organic, and they adhere more to the emotion of your music. So if you have a very dense impact moment, you can make a square, for example, and then you can play with the sizes. You can play with the sizes to make the impact bigger along the process of the music, or you can just have it as a standstill and do something on the spot. So this is what you have in mind. And this is what you also need to write down. You need to write it down in some sort of emotion schemes. Could be an emotion scheme, could be a storyboard, doesn't matter how you call it. But at least you will see that you will then create a show that is not necessarily at the same emotion level all the time. So sometimes you need to give the audience a break. And this is very essential. Write it down, see how one emotion goes to the other one. Do you have an impact moment? Do you have a gradual transition? And these are the sort of things that you need to write down. And it will be easier to create the correct staging. Okay. And then of course the last step, you translate it into a drill design. So you create the figures, your distances, etc., etc. And then the final call is very important. Reevaluate it. Ask a friend, ask your mother, ask your sister. Try to ask them what they feel, what they see if you show this kind of figure. And maybe also let them listen to the music. And then you can really evaluate from an external view if your show design is really adhering to the emotion that you want to expose. So, very simple. You have the positioning, you have to adhere to the emotion, and you have to use your field, the space of your field. And then you write it down in a storyboard, and from that storyboard you will have a good sequence, and this sequence then you can translate in the drill design. So, and maybe last but not least, be creative. Don't copy. You can copy, but then do it good. I think the most important is that you be creative. So, looking forward, so what you make out of this, and talk later.